I was passing by a shop in Soho, London, when I was 33 years of age, or maybe even 32. Anyway, it was astrology, and outside they had a little board, and on the board it said card readers. Sorry, sorry, it said card reading. Well, I had my cards read before, and a lot of it came true, and I knew the future, but when you get into that sort of thing, it becomes a bit of an addiction, I guess. But I went in there and had a quick read, and I was telling him that I wanted to learn to read cards. So he said he was thinking of starting a class, and would I like to come along on a certain day, which I did, and he had other people there as well. There was about 8 of us in all, males and females. And this was in a council flat that he had in Camden, near just before Mornington Crescent, as you approach Camden from the south. Anyway, I thought we was going to get straight into learning to read cards, because I was thinking of this first girl who read my cards. It's all been coming true, you see. But it turns out we had to learn to be psychics. So with his help, we had to concentrate on our chakras. Actually, I'm not quite sure if we did that first. No, we meditated at first. We just basically sat there quietly, saying nothing, trying to make our minds blank. I find it impossible to do. But then afterwards, when we were calm, he would get us to concentrate on our chakras, which is different colours within the body. None of this I really believed in. I believed in the tarot cards, and I thought, well, just go along with this nonsense, and eventually I'll learn the secrets of reading tarot cards. It's not that easy, by the way. You've got to have a knack for it, an ability for it. So this went on for a few weeks or so. I think I went back maybe twice a week to this class, and he used to get us to pair up and test our psychic ability with each other. And it was quite amazing. Things were happening, and that sort of makes you realise when these things happen that it's not just make-believe. It's not just belief, as religious people do with religion, for instance. I mean, I do make a separation from religion and the psychic world. But after, I don't know how long it was, maybe 3 weeks, he said, we're now going to try and make contact with God. And I thought, oh, this is ridiculous. So I didn't believe it. I really didn't believe it. The idea of making contact with God. And by then, I think I came to the conclusion that there wasn't a God. And that, what was it now? Oh yeah, that there wasn't a God, and it really didn't matter if there was, because there's no way I'm going to change my way of doing things because of a God. So if a God said, for instance, there's a hammer, I want you to go over the road and smash that person's brain in, or smash that dog's brain in, I'd tell him to piss off. And don't come to my door again. I don't care if he is a God. He'll say, well, you're going to hell forever if you don't. I say, I don't care. I'm not going to do it. Go away. So anyway, we've done our chakras. We concentrated on our chakras, and then we put our mind to searching for God, making contact. First contact, so to speak, like that film. To my disbelief, straight away, as soon as I put my mind to it, the room vanished. I'm not joking. This is the truth, I'm telling you. The room vanished. And I was in some sort of pub scene. I have a feeling that it was the pub next to the racetrack. So it was mainly men there from what I could see. And they were all chatting away. There was this hubbub of noise everywhere, cacophony of noise. And I must be floating above these people because I must be about 2 feet above the crowd because I'm looking down on the crowd, you see. And suddenly I heard a voice shouting in the distance to my left, saying, "Over here!" So I looked over, and to my surprise, there was a hand waving above the crowd saying, "Over here." So, I'm just surprised. I'm surprised I'm here looking at this scene, and I'm surprised this hand is waving to me as if someone knows me. So I don't know how I did, I just sort of tried to put my mind on the hand and force myself to go over to this person. Well, I did. I put my mind on his hand waving. Next thing I knew, that we're back in the council flat. That bar has vanished, that scene. And I can hear this person standing next to me or in front of me talking, but I can't see him. He's invisible. This is not so difficult to believe because even with hypnotists who do these acts on stage, they can make themselves invisible to those people they've hypnotized. So there's nothing surprising about that. But anyway, I've got a feeling that we did have a chat because I'm a very nosy person. I have a lot of questions, and I probably did ask him a few things, and he probably did answer. But I think he wiped my mind clean afterwards, so I wouldn't remember. So I had moments of satisfaction of knowing certain things. But anyway, I said to the teacher, I had to turn to him because he was behind me at the time. I said, "I'm talking to God now." And he suddenly said to everyone, "Stop." He said, "He's the strongest psychic here." And just a reminder, if you like my videos, please give me a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. Thank you. So anyway, I can't remember what me and God said. Because at the time, even though I wasn't religious, I gave up the idea of religion. I couldn't think who else he could be. So I had to use the religion term, which is God. And you see, he got this. The teacher, because he had this shop in Soho, he got a lot of his customers to come and visit every week. He started off a class with me, and they would come and visit, and I would do sittings for them. It happened just like that. I wasn't paid or anything. It wasn't a hardship for me to do a sitting. So I would simply, I'll be sitting there, and no doubt God would be sitting nearby. I hate that word God because I'm not religious to this day. And by the way, has this changed me at all? Made me suddenly get down on my knees and pray and things like that? No. I guess I see, if you force me to explain what God is to me, I guess I would say he's more like family. It would be the same as me approaching some of the children of famous people and saying, "Do you realise your mother and father are famous?" And they say, "Well, yeah, but to me they're just mum and dad." Well, to me, God is just someone I know. Seems a decent fellow. No more. I'm not going to start falling to my knees or begging him to go to paradise or something. If he wants to accept me as I am, because I feel that I'm doing right, I have empathy and I feel for all creatures, including humans, if they're suffering, I will do my best to help. And I'm not going to change that for him or anyone else. Anyway, getting back to this story. People were coming to have a sitting with me. I had one person in the room at a time. And I would say to this person I couldn't see, what's wrong with them and how can we help them? And he would tell me, put your hand near them and they would be cured. And I was just doing things like that. But when you're doing things like curing them of certain illnesses, I won't say the illnesses because I don't want to be arrested for saying I'm curing people. When you're doing these sort of things, you don't see any effect because it's internal, their problem. But there was only 2 people I saw instant change, and I was surprised. It did shock me. I was surprised. The others, to me, it didn't matter. They came. I said something or put some power, if you like. Well, I didn't put any power. It was God doing all the thing. It was just all make believe. I was just the artist, so to speak, on a TV screen, and the power wasn't really coming from me. It was all to do with God. Anyway, what happened was this woman came in with slouched shoulders. She had the world upon her shoulders, this woman. She was about 33 years of age, quite haggard by the problems she had. I don't know what the hell was wrong with her. But she sat down in that seat. No strength I could see, no strength at all. She was leaning forward, looking at the ground. And I said, as usual, what's wrong with this woman? How can we help her? And he said, as usual, I could hear him distinctly. And we're not talking about in the head here, like some lunatic. A lot of lunatics will say, yes, God spoke to me in my head. No, this was a person talking to me out from outside my body, just like I would be talking to you. And he said quite clearly, he said, tell her that she's all right now. She has no more problems. She can go home. So I passed this information on to her. And before my eyes, this woman virtually jumped out of that chair or bounced out of that chair with suddenly all this strength come back into her. And she walked out there with a positive attitude. And to this day, I don't know what it was. And I wanted to say, come back and tell me what was the problem. But I knew if I did, that would, it probably ruin the whole thing, wouldn't it? So, to this day, I don't know. And I often think about her. Anyway, another time, I had the most beautiful girl. She was blonde, blue-eyed, about 18, 19, 20, no more than 21, I would say. She was perfection on 2 legs. Now, when it comes to perfection, whether it's a painting or a beautiful woman, some beautiful thing, I'm quite prejudiced. I really am. I think most of us are. So if someone had come running in after her and saying, look, she just gone and killed 12 fellas out there, she shot them to death, I would say, well, they probably deserved it. I'm sure the poor girl is innocent. That's how prejudiced I am when it comes to beauty. So, as usual, she sat before me. She was very close to me, actually. She sat there before me, and I'm just mesmerised by her beauty. And I said to God, at the moment, for want of a better name, I said to God, well, what's wrong with her, and how can we help her? And he said, for the first time, I've never heard him get angry at all before. And he said, she's a bitch. And I tried to hold that back, you see, the laughter, and it sort of spluttered out. And she gave me this quizzical look and asked me, what did he say? So I told her, he just called you a bitch, and I've never heard him angry before. And that didn't make an impression. But then I acted it out exactly as I heard it. She's a bitch. And as soon as I did that, her head went down for about 2 seconds. I could see that her life was flashing before her, all the bitchy things she's been doing in her life. And she looked up, and when she looked up, she was a different person. I could feel it, because I'm very good at feeling people, the spirit, or whatever you like to call it. I'm very good. And I could feel she was a different person. And she said to me, he's right, I'm a bitch. Well, she got out of that seat. She got up and walked out of the room. She was a totally different person. No more bitchiness. She would have been the nicest person you could ever meet after that. That's what she needed. Afterwards, I realised he just put it on, the anger. You see, God is an intellectual. Intellectuals don't get violent. They don't get angry. They don't get hateful. If you look at intellectuals talking on the TV in these shows and that, like Christopher Hitchens, for instance, they're not going to get into fisticuffs or anything like that. No, he just put that on because he knew if he came over like the vicar, oh, you've got to change your ways, you're hurting people by your behaviour. It wouldn't have made any difference to her But she never expected that. Because she came knowing that I was a psychic. So when I told her that, there wasn't any question that it wasn't coming from God. It really was for her. And it was, in truth. Now, you people are the few people that I've ever talked to about this. Because normally, with my girlfriends or other people, close friends, I've never really talked about it because they would just think me mad. You can't go beyond people's knowledge too far. You can make a step forward if they have certain knowledge in society, which society does. So I could say, for instance, the games, the computer games, become so real soon that you won't be able to tell the difference from the computer game and reality. And they will believe this. They will accept it as truth because they can see the way things are going. But if you take too far of a step forward, people don't, they really can't. It goes beyond their imagination, their acceptance. People aren't so open-minded and so intelligent as you think, you see. But hopefully, as you're watching this, that you have stepped away from normal society and are able to understand the truth of this. But I can tell you now that, and I think I might have said it in a few of my other videos, that whatever religion you are, religion really pulls you away from the truth. It gets you into nonsense. It's, for instance, this religion where they beat girls up because they dress in nice clothes and they dye their hair and things. That's to do with jealousy. That's nothing to do with religion. It's jealousy. They use religion to abuse people's rights. In this situation, to abuse the girls, their rights. But I can assure you that in that particular religion, knowing the way God does things, a lot of those girls were once men. They were the same religion, but as men, and they beat girls up when they were men. So, you see, God doesn't take an interest in causing pain and suffering or anything else, actually. He leaves it all to karma. So karma, the only way karma can do justice is to get you to experience things from the victim's point of view. That's perfect justice. And that's why a lot of these poor girls who have been beaten up because of, they say, religion, were once men who were beating up girls in that religion. And those men who are now beating girls up will then, when they die, they will come back as women to be beaten up by men because they're trying to get free as a woman. No, what happened was, after a short time of these classes, things started going wrong. The things I said and done, it all went wrong. It didn't come true. So when I was alone, I said to God, I said, what's going on? It's all going wrong. And suddenly I heard him quite clearly again, not in my head. I heard him quite clearly. He said, people are starting to look up to you, he said. And I don't want that for you at this time in your life. And it's true. If we could have kept that going for a year or maybe even 2 years, I would have become world famous. I would have become very rich, and I probably would have destroyed all religions because of my fame.